Greetings, welcome. It's that time again where I am coming back with another episode of Family Heritage. This is a weekly conversation about family, business, leadership, well-being, and the legacy that we will be leaving behind. Each week, I'm exploring stories, I'm talking about values, the lessons I've learnt along the way, and the experiences that have really shaped me and others that I know. Now, this is a conversation about life and business, so you will hear me talk about personal reflections. I share some stories from my own family, and hopefully, I leave you with thought provoking questions to really get that conversation going in the chat. So we do look at I can never say this bit, our, oh my gosh, I might have to change that. But it's all about heritage and how heritage, your heritage, my heritage, has influenced the decisions that we are making in our life. So we talk about relationships and the future that we're building for the next generation. So welcome back. This is episode 4. And if you've been following this conversation, you will understand that I've brought in the family principle. So already we have touched upon foundations, we've had a look at ambition, and we have also had a look at, I can't remember what we talked about last week. What was the about? Oh, it was about mentors. Yes, because I really enjoyed discussing that one with you. So we looked at mentors, but this week the I stands for investment. So thank you for joining me. If you are watching the live, then please do let me know that you're here. I will turn on the comment section so that if you wanted to leave a comment, that would be great to see the comments coming through live. And I will also read them out if they're appropriate and interact. And what else have I got to say? Yes, if you're watching the replay, which I know many of you do watch the replay, it's not always possible to follow live recordings. But please, again, even if you feel shy and you don't want to leave a comment, if you're enjoying the content, then feel free to give me a thumbs up or, give me a like or a love or any of those icons that are available to you, because then at least I know that you were here. So let's get started. We're going to start with grandmother's wisdom. If you know anything about my story, you will know that I am a nanny, as my grandbabies call me. And just in case you don't know who I am, maybe it's the first time that you are here on this platform, wherever you are watching this or listening to this. My name is Vanessa-Mary and I am a wellbeing healer. I'm also the founder of the Seeds community, where I absolutely love working and supporting self-employed mums and dads and leaders who work in a family-owned business. And together we talk about our well-being and our enterprise, and we are forming a fantastic community, which is a hybrid community. So it means that most of the activities that I actually lead on are online. Anyway, so we're talking about grandmother's wisdom, and this week the family principle is investment. So I'm going to reflect on my grandmother Annie again, who was, I always talking about them as though they're still here, but my wonderful grandmothers have passed. But yeah, grandmother Annie was my dad's mum. And you'll hear me talk about both of my grandmothers as I develop this conversation. But one thing that was very obvious to me, by the size of their houses, by the things that they could afford and things like that, is that my grandmothers had different positions, let's just say, in terms of their financial wealth and how that obviously impacted on the family. So my grandmother Annie was not as, I would say, financially well off as my grandmother Sue. But in terms of her investment, I definitely know that she put so much investment of her time and her love and her energy into our family. So last week I explained that I am the oldest granddaughter for Annie and Sue, but Annie had a lot, well, she's got a lot of us, there's a lot, I've got a lot of cousins. So with her not having as much financial wealth, she had to be very creative in how she was investing in us and showing us how much she loved us. And she definitely did that with her time and her love. She was an exceptional cook. Both of my grandmothers were very good cooks. But what they did is they made sure that we knew that they were pouring their investment of time into us through food, bringing us together, not just on special occasions. I would say, I'm recording this series on a Sunday because that is a good time for me to do these recordings. Now, traditionally, when my grandmother was alive, Sunday would be spent with her. So it didn't really matter the size of accommodation that Annie had. She always had so many of her family coming through the door on a Sunday. It was like literally all day, or in fact, the whole entire weekend, she would have members of her family with her, and also my grandmother Sue. So they were actually showing us that coming together, investing time together as a family was a really good way for us to show each other that we care, and also to pass on that connection of unity and love together as a family. So I just want to ask you a question. What are the investments that you are making today? Is this something that a member of your family would be speaking about in generations to come? Please do let me know your response to that question below, wherever you're watching this. So we're talking about investment, and I just really want to touch upon how you are investing in yourself, how I'm investing in myself as well, and what really matters. The first thing that I want to expand on is the investment of books. So last week in the conversation around mentors, I did talk a lot about the mentors that I have found through reading. I have a Sunday reading group. The book that we're reading at the moment is Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers. We have just started, so we are just coming to chapter 2. We had a couple of weeks off for different reasons, but we're on chapter 2 now. And even today, we acknowledge that this is our third title as a reading community. And reading as part of a community group is really strengthening us, because we don't just read the information. We will actually pause and talk about what we've read. We will actually share our own experiences based on the information that we've read as well. So I do find that reading, for me personally, is a really good way of investing my time, particularly when I'm reading with others. I'm just going to do a little check in and make sure that this is streaming properly. I always do this only because in the past I have done some really good content and realized that nothing was streaming. All right, so just hold for a second. Let's have a look. Yeah, okay, so I can see that. That's fine. So now I'm going to talk about learning. And this is something that I've just written about. So I have an article coming out tomorrow that will be published. And it's actually given me an opportunity to talk about learning. Now, hopefully I haven't interrupted. I've just pressed something. Yeah, okay, I thought I'd interrupted the stream then. But yeah, so learning is really interesting. So we're talking today about how we're investing our time for the family principle. And even as I'm getting older, I am definitely making sure that I am still creating space in my routine to take on new knowledge. Now, obviously, this is my own personal preference. This is what I'm doing in my life. I was speaking to one of the members of the Seeds community, and she is an older woman, and she told me how she's just gone back to university and she's starting a module at university, and she put in her assignment and she got a distinction for the assignment. It's absolutely brilliant. So, how we're investing our time really does make a difference. So, I've just touched upon reading. Now, I'm talking about learning. We all have opportunities to learn new skills. The internet gives us so many opportunities to take short courses, to get involved with groups, to attend workshops, online workshops, or maybe you have a chance to attend workshops that are happening in your local area. I think it's really important if you can. And remember, this isn't always about circulating lots of money as well, because we're talking about the investment. And for me, I'm not just talking about investment in terms of money, we are talking about time. We also are talking about how you are investing in your own health. Now, again, if you had a concrete plan for your well-being, you may say to me, but Vanessa, that is actually taking investment of my money. I have to maybe buy supplements if you're taking on nutritional supplements, or if you're doing activities that might, you might have a cost for that. But there are lots of free things that you can do, which are actually helping you to make sure that you are focused on investing in your own health and well-being. So many of you know that I run a networking group, for example. Now, yes, there is a tiny charge for that if you want to come back repeatedly. But the first walk, or even the second walk, I don't even mind you just coming along. Now, clearly, you do need to be local to me in Nottingham for that to happen. But you could set up your own network if you're a business owner, or if you're not in business and you enjoy walking. I used to run pram fits when my son was a baby, so I was walking with other mums in the local area. There's lots of walking groups that you can do. So again, how are you looking after your health? We can go as simple as making sure that you're staying on top of your hydration, to again, you've got a certain amount of budget that you're saying, this is for my health and well-being. And just finally, in terms of investing in yourself, it does touch upon what I was covering last week in terms of mentors. But this is about how you are investing in your own personal growth. I am such a strong supporter of personal growth, whatever that looks like to you. Again, you can take it as informal as getting a book that will give you good knowledge, give you some really good ideas, to actually enrolling in a seminar, a workshop, other things like that. Personal growth is really important. So let's quickly talk about relationships, because we're not here on our own. Okay, even if you feel like you maybe don't see that many people, or for whatever reason you do spend a lot of time on your own, relationships are going to have an impact on us, whether they are positive or negative. So let's ensure that we are investing our time with those who would, I'm going to talk about, elevating us, helping us, supporting us. In fact, this came up in today's conversation in the reading group. Oh, I'm trying to sort my tag out, look, and I'm actually making it worse. Let me sort that out. Yeah. So we were talking about this in the reading group, where we were talking, the example was of a doubting Thomas. And, one of the things that we discussed is, if you are trying to face your fears and do things differently, if you are surrounded by others who are actually quite doubtful, maybe they've got negative ways of thinking and they don't understand that they're actually projecting that onto you, it can be quite difficult for you to really put that investment into yourself. So who you surround yourself with will make a difference to the outcome that you are seeking in your own life, particularly if you are someone who is thinking about the future, thinking about the next generation, and you want to do something positive and good in this world while you are here. then the investment of your energy in terms of your family and friends should be considered. Now, I don't mind telling you, I've got adult offspring. So my son and my daughter, they are adults, they live their own life. But when we've had times where I don't feel that we're in alignment, we're not on the same page, I will say to them, I am pulling back because I really do need to protect my energy. And at the moment, I just don't feel that we are actually on the same page. So don't be afraid to set boundaries, is what I'm saying, with your friends and your family. If you do feel that actually this isn't feeling healthy, I feel that we're constantly bickering, we're arguing. I'm not going to go into the emotional scale on this call, but if you are around friends and family who are making you just feel like disappointment, angry, rage, you can feel the tension, then they are taking you to that lower vibrational scale. And I would say it's probably best if you just put some distance between yourself and them. Now let's talk about community. I have been involved in different communities since I've been 16, and I know that the benefit of being with a community can be really powerful. If you look at the last words in the word community, it's unity. So if you are actually wanting to invest your time, maybe you don't have a lot of people in your life, or you don't have a particularly positive relationship with your family and friends, then investing in a positive community is going to really have a good benefit for your life. I'm not going to go into the details right now, but when I was younger, I actually started working with communities since I was 16, actually, and it made such a difference, particularly when I wanted to then take the knowledge and the skills that I developed within the community centre and go into a professional setting. It actually helped me with my career. Now, quickly, business relationships. So, for many of you, depending on where you're watching this, if you're watching this inside LinkedIn, for example, you will know that I am building my business through the Seeds community. And it is, for me, business relationships are an essential part of building the community. But again, investing your time in the right business relationships does make a difference. If you have been following my content, you will know that not only do I organize networking opportunities, I attend networking opportunities, but also I have realized that not every opportunity is where we need to be, where we need to invest our time and energy. So I've actually been developing a very good framework, a very simple methodology, which is actually supporting me to assess which business relationships do I need to invest more time and energy into. And by doing that, I must say, in the last 2 weeks alone, with the work that we're doing inside the Seeds community, we have actually been able to elevate some of those relationships very quickly to the point where we put in work proposals for key individuals. And that's because I'm not actually chasing lots of different business relationships. I'm developing the right business relationships. So, if we now look at how all of that comes together, we've talked about investing in ourselves, we've talked about investing in our relationships, in our well-being, particularly on those relationships. We are now saying to ourselves, okay, if I'm running a business and I've invested my time and energy the right way, then hopefully this is going to give me more money. Now, just something that you'll know, well, you'll know this anyway, because it says I'm a well-being healer. So I am not giving you financial advice in this section, okay? So whether you are listening to me because you're not watching the video, or you're watching the video, it clearly says Vanessa-Mary, well-being healer. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not giving you any financial advice. What I am talking about in this section is just from my own personal experience. So I do have financial advisors in my network, in my community. If you want to go deeper on this, speak to somebody who is qualified to give financial advice. My own experience has just taken me through a little financial quiz, which was almost giving me an opportunity to reflect on investments in the wider scale, and gave me an opportunity. I call it life admin when I do things like financial well-being quizzes, but it was really good. And I really like this particular financial advisor's methodology and how he'd taken us through that. If you want to be connected with him, please do reach out, and I'm more than happy to set that up. And his quiz was, he gave it to us in his talk anyway, so I'm sure that he would let you do that. But again, if we're talking about money, then it is important for us to understand the investment. We're talking about investment in ourselves. Well, we do need to think about our money as well, and really know how all of the time and energy that we're putting into our career, into our business, can help us with our financial wealth plans. So we have spoken about the principle of I, which is investments today. Thank you so much. Oh, does it? I thought someone was trying to phone me then, and I was thinking, oh, please don't phone me right when I'm doing this when I'm doing this live call. But anyway, hopefully the information that I've given you today has got you thinking. So I want you to just think about these quick things. What are you investing in? What are you investing in? So this is about your time, your well-being. If you was to give yourself a little score, how would you rate yourself on these different elements of your life? Okay. And also, what needs more attention? So, I've spoken about some key areas. If you was to give yourself a score in those areas, what needs more attention? And what do you need to maybe do less of right now? So this type of exercise is really good because it helps us to quickly say to ourselves, maybe I've put too much energy into, for example, focusing on relationships, and I've ignored my health and well-being, or I've ignored my reading time, I've ignored learning new things. So yes, that was my closing. If we was to have this conversation in the next 12 months, so if I come back on this show, remember I'm only on episode 4. Like I said to you, if you are watching this or listening to the replay, please keep giving me the thumbs up and the likes and the comments, because it helps me to know that you are here, and that will keep me motivated to keep going. So let's just fast forward to 12 months time. If I came back with this repeated topic and we spoke about it again, how would you score yourself again in 12 months for those key areas? So I'm going to leave you with just letting you know quickly what we're talking about next week, or what I'm talking about next week. I'm going to be on the principle of L, which is about legacy. Yay. So if you're joining me, I'm actually going to put the timing back a little bit, actually. But if you're just joining me now, it won't make a difference, or if you're listening to the replay. But I just want to finish with this reflection, if I may, that legacy isn't about the things we're doing in a single moment. It's built through the investments that we're taking every single day. So in those key areas that I've spoken about today, the investment in ourselves, the investment in our health, the investment in our relationship, and the investment in our money. And what we don't see is how those things are compounding over time. But over years, if we are consistent, we will see that all those little actions, those little steps that we took in those different areas will make a difference to us in the coming years. So my name's Vanessa-Mary. This has been Family Heritage. We've been talking about investing in what matters. I hope that I've left you with something to think about. If this has resonated with you in any way, please do give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and then I know that you have been here. And yes, thank you so much for tuning in. And I will speak to you on the next one. Thank you. Bye.